powered by Riverside.
Ooh, hey, everybody. Just look around, see what's going down here at Popcorn and Beers. I'm Josh. Who also is Jordan's here? Say hi.
Hello.
Couldn't find Fry. I think he is bathing in beer still. Up in
Like
Prague.
a trip we can drive through. We are one large fry short.
One large fry with extra tight shirts. Anyway, I'm Josh. This is the show Popcorn and Beers, where others rate with tomatoes and foot rubs. We use the stuff that gets you drunk. I think that's how the phrase goes. Nothing alcoholic today for me. I just have a nice juice smoothie.
Water.
So, whatever. Bit under the weather today, but we're gonna see how funny I am anyway. Jordan, what'd you watch this week, bud?
Let's see. Well, I got caught up on a TV show called Evil, streaming on Paramount Plus. Yes, Paramount Plus. I got caught up in the first season of this show called Evil. It came out in like 2019 on CBS. It's about a priest played by one of the stars of our Butter on Top film, Planed, Mike Coulter.
Oh, I've seen that for like 5 episodes or so. Yeah.
Yeah, he plays a Catholic priest in training, and a psychologist and a skeptic science enthusiast. They're tasked by the Catholic Church to assess whether or not different phenomena can be considered as demonic, or if it's just some hoax or some trick, something. It sounds dark, and a lot of the scenarios presented are, but it maintains some a lot of heart and a lot of good humor. Showing that the creators are self-aware of some of the absurdity, some of the obviously fictional themes. It tries painfully hard to touch on culturally relevant topics like cryptocurrency, church scandals, social media, race, police brutality, in a way that it swings wildly off into tangents that don't benefit the overarching storyline. The overarching storyline is just going in a lot of different directions itself, that when it tries to present these real world connections, it goes really, really off the rails, and you're just like, how are they going to bring this back to earth and make this all relevant? And majority of the time they don't. The last 2 seasons have been on Paramount Plus, with the 4th season coming later this year. It's highly reviewed, won some lower level awards. The 3rd season really started to get into the weeds, so it's probably time they start wrapping it up. I don't know how they're going to do it. Hopefully they do it well, because I really enjoy the show. I had it at a popcorn and 2 beers. I think I'm going to bring it to a popcorn and 1 after finishing.
Popcorn and 1.
Yeah.
Well, having barely any knowledge of the show, like I've seen like maybe 5 episodes, probably closer to 2. I don't know. It's been a while, but I saw it when it came out because I like Mike Coulter. Mike Coulter. Anyway, it's funny though when you give the general synopsis of what the show is. If you change a few proper nouns, like Catholic Church switched for FBI, that's X-Files.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They just found the formula. That's pretty interesting. The
guy that plays, the guy that plays the main antagonist in it, I don't know how exactly to describe what his character is playing in it. He's just a jerk that inserts himself in every situation somehow. He's like a fantastic actor. You really hate that guy watching the show, so
I love a
shout
good
out
villain.
to him. Yeah.
I love a good villain, and wouldn't you think that's the dream role? If I could be an actor, I'd love to be a really good bad guy. That'd be sweet.
Oh, that looks like so much fun.
Yeah.
So
what else you got going on?
I watched The Champion on Netflix, based on a true story. It's a 2020 Polish film about Auschwitz in the early days of the Holocaust. A boxer is in prison and ends up fighting for the entertainment of Nazi soldiers to earn
Ugh.
extra rations and privileges. But his success and the kind of inspiration he becomes starts to become a problem.
Mm.
It's in English, but the acting and dialogue seems so bad that it comes off as like a really good English overdubbing. If that makes sense,
Oh,
it comes off bad, so it looks like a good overdubbing. But
that's
it
interesting.
turns out, so I was trying to watch a movie, a 2021 movie called The Survivor, which is pretty much the same storyline, but I Googled it because I was like, something doesn't seem right here. I Googled it and realized it too late, but I just stuck with it that it's a totally different movie.
Hmm.
Maybe I'll watch that one next week and compare. But so in Googling it, I found out that the Champion is the first full theatrical film to be converted to English using neural rendering. Okay, stick with me.
Ooh.
All the perform all the performances were changed so the actors not only are revoiced into English, but their faces were replaced so the
Whoa.
actors are also physically speaking English as well.
Dude.
So think about that for a second. And yeah, people were like, the simulation is going wrong. The AI will take like we are no longer going to see real actors in movies. It's just going to be faces of like
Dude, definitely.
I don't know. Yeah, who's like a dead famous actor. There's going to be John Wayne now in every
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
movie,
Playing every role.
every role.
Yeah. There's a podcast I listen to called Doozy. Shout out. They talk about AI quite a bit, and one of their predictions is that's the truth. Like once quantum computing comes out and the learning is so complex for the AI, like you can type in, "I want to see The Matrix," and here's the cast I want to play every role, and then it just makes it for you on the spot. I mean, that's pretty far in the future, but maybe not so far. But it'd be
I
cool
want to
if you
see the
could have like Forrest Gump, the character Forrest Gump playing every role in The Matrix. That'd be
I
good.
want to see the Matrix with every role filled with Keanu Reeves playing a different Keanu Reeves role.
Mr. Anderson.
Yeah.
Um, uh, that's interesting you bring that up though, because I wonder. I was about to say it sounded. I saw something last night, and it was something magical. You might have seen it on like the front of I don't know if it's Hulu or Amazon Prime or whatever it is, but it's like a little girl Alice in Wonderlandy type thing, but like the events of her life are happening, and then a fantastical element is added to the scene. So it's like she's in a fantasy world that's interweaving with her real life. Like the bad guys in real, the principal of the school becomes this other character that's kind of like a wizard or whatever. Anyway, it's kind of new, um, but I noticed the same sort of thing. Like they were all speaking English, but it was clearly dubbed, and I was looking at their mouths, and they looked exactly like they were saying what they were supposed to be saying, but the dub was clearly like translated. You know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
definitely dubbed. So I was wondering if it was just like After Effects, like they messed up the whole movie and then just had everyone come back and sound it, or that could be. I'll have to look it up. Maybe it's the same thing with the what'd you call it? Restructuring,
They called it, gosh, neural rendering.
neural rendering.
Yeah,
That's cool.
I had to read that definition a couple times because it was like their faces were replaced, and I was like, they replaced their faces.
Yeah,
Like I couldn't like face off style, like Nick
yeah,
Cage and
yeah.
the John Travolta. Like,
Exactly like that.
yeah,
Papa got a brand new bag. Okay, so champion boxer Auschwitz, weirdly dubbed. It's
yeah.
terrifying.
Besides it trying to sell you, like at the end, trying to sell you a Nazi with a conscience kind of
Mm-hmm.
thing. It ended pretty well. I'm gonna give it a popcorn and two beers.
Whoa.
Had it had just been in Polish with like subtitles, or just been a bad overdub,
Yeah.
I would have gave it probably three. Like it was a good movie, but just the rendering, the technology might not be there yet, and
It takes
it
away.
just looked. It looked like bad acting. It looked really weird.
Mm.
So
I feel that. Definitely, the dub, almost any dub it takes away from the real movie, I think. It's really hard to get a good dub. Princess Mononoke is probably the best example of a good one, but that's a cartoon. Um, but uh, what's people's problem with subtitles? Just do subtitles. You know,
I don't know.
it's fine.
Subtitles. I
Uh,
watch subtitles English stuff.
yeah, but sometimes you have a movie or a show come along, and it's like how James Cameron invented a new camera for Avatar, etc. He did all kinds of crazy stuff and changed cinematography as a whole. That would be like one example of mass success. But on the other end, you also have shows where like, hey, we found this cool trick. Let's make a whole movie so we can do this cool fight scene because I figured out this camera thing. You know, the movie doesn't have to be good at all. We just want to see what this technology does, and it's kind of experimental. I don't think that's the intention, but but we have this cool fight scene though, so they don't worry about how bad the rest of the movie is, or whatever it is, whatever the new, in this case, replacing faces. But popcorn and 2 beers, huh? That's pretty good. Popcorn and 1 because of the yeah. Well,
Two. I gave it 3.
okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Well, I watched The Man from Toronto. I'm not sure if you've heard of that. I haven't before when I saw it a couple days ago.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart, Woody, Netflix, I think. Um, Pretty good movie. It had a really slow start though. Not like it's like it didn't quite know what kind of movie it was for a minute. Well, the whole premise of the movie is like mix them up with identities. One of them's an assassin and one of them's just a guy, and then that's where the comedy ensues. You know what I mean? But like one half of the movie was sort of a romantic coming of age, be a man type romantic comedy, and the other one was buddy cop. You know, not cop, but buddy crime. I don't know. Usually it melded pretty well, but the beginning it took a little while to start. There was not even a whole lot of jokes. Kevin Hart tried a little serious acting here and there. Not too serious. But as the movie got to like 25% or more, it really picked up. And then the more you watch the show, the better it got. Like it turned into a great, like really funny romp. I hate using that word. Um, but Woody Harrelson and Kevin Hart did a good job together. There's some really good quotes. I don't think there's spoilers. But my favorite one was Kevin Hart says, "I done boiled a goddamn white woman because of you." It's pretty good. I give it a popcorn and a beer, and also that or not, I'm driving home. Almost 2. It was a lot of fun. Nothing really exceptional. I definitely would watch it again if it was ever on. Like it was worth keeping in the library of sorts. Also, I watched Devil Wears Prada, and I'll just come out right away and say, that's a popcorn and 3 beers, bud. That's just a good movie. It's just a good movie. I don't care. D, where's the P, buddy? I think that was what's her name? Olivia. Shit. I don't know. The other assistant.
That was Meryl.
No, the other assistant, John Krasinski's wife. I wanted to say Olivia Munn, but that's
Olivia Wilde.
Wilde. No, that's the other one.
No.
Anyway, Stone. Olivia Stone. Is that not a thing? Emma Stone. Emma Watson. Hermione was in it. Not really. But I think that was her first big movie. Meryl Streep just came in for the heavy swings all the time. She just stole the camera. Tucci. What do you got to say about Tucci? But good things. He's the best, no matter what. Yeah, great movie. I just had a good time watching it. I might have seen that 3,000 times. It's just a good movie. Whenever it's on, you have to sit down and watch it. And it's cool to be like Movie for chicks, I guess. That's the generic stamp you put on it, I guess. But it's not about a woman who's trying to get the guy and have it all. She's just a woman who's trying to find out what she wants, and she gets what she wants. She finds out how powerful she is, and then she just carries on with her life. It's pretty cool. I thought it was a little bit of a cop out to get back with the guy in the end, but people make choices. Also, I think he was barely even required in the movie. You have a lot of that going on with people. We'll bring that up in Plane. The characters that didn't even need to be there, per se. I guess you could say they do. But anyway, great movie. Devil Wears Prada. What do you think about it?
To be honest with you, I haven't seen it front to back, but I've seen it, most of it, in large chunks. Like I've seen the whole movie, but never in one sitting.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
That's funny.
makes sense.
Because it was just on TV here and there.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Somebody's watching it in the background, and I kind of, okay,
Yeah.
what's going on there? It's not, yeah, it's never something that I would sit down and I guess it didn't. In what I've seen, it never drawed me enough to sit and watch the whole movie.
Yeah.
But it seems like a good, well-made, good movie.
Yeah.
It's not really my thing.
Sure.
I wouldn't. You wouldn't have to force me at. You wouldn't have to torture me to sit there and watch the whole thing. Though I'll say that.
Right. Yeah. I'm not sure
It's
that.
not like it's not something I would do.
Yeah. If I'm just cruising Netflix and it just is on the feed, like, probably wouldn't ever really pick it. But if it's on, I'm like, yeah, okay. And then halfway through, you're like, just happy that you started watching this movie. It's a good movie. I feel you though. Oh, let's get into the classic, right? What was the drunk classic this week?
It was City of God.
City of God. Oh yeah, I picked this one. I haven't seen it since like 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And I just remember it being so good, blowing my mind. But I was also like 19 and really high, and sometimes when you watch a movie really high at around 19, you think a lot higher of it than it truly is. So I was worried it wasn't that good of a movie, and I just thought it was when I was a kid. But it's such a good movie. You want to get into it?
Yeah. It's always on those lists of like the one of the top 10 movies that everyone should see before they die.
Oh,
It's
really?
consistently on those lists, yeah. And that's what made me watch it. I don't remember when I first watched it, but I remember being like, "Oh man, I think I'm gonna watch this movie." And from like the first
Yeah.
20 minutes, you're like, "Whoa, this is gonna be something. This is gonna be an experience."
Yeah, about to have an experience.
Yeah, it's raw, it's gritty, it envelops you in the culture of Brazil. Um, okay, raw, gritty, envelops you in Brazilian culture, tells many different stories at the same time, but it never like gets even remotely off track with any of them. It's all very relevant and very just crucial to the story.
Yeah.
Nothing too silly. It just the movie flows just effortlessly
Right.
all the way. It's a lot like it made me feel like Lord of the Flies meets Scarface,
Oh, that's good.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Kind of.
I said this movie would cause so much outrage if it was released today. Could you imagine the kids, the guns, the drugs,
The
some of
brutality of it.
the brutality? Like I just specifically mentioned the hand or foot scene with the runts.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there's a gang of very small children, gosh, I don't know, 8 and under,
Yeah.
called the Runts, and
The hyenas.
they're doing stick ups in the wrong part of the hood. So the boss, the big man, goes to them, captures a couple of them, and says, "I'll let you decide if I shoot you in the hand or foot as punishment." And it's just small children being tortured. So pretty rough to watch,
Oof. Yeah.
but don't let that discourage you from seeing this movie. It's just
Yeah, and in that vein, like that scene in particular, but like just about any scene, if you really think about it, what a home run for child actors. This movie, everyone in it nails their part. And it's not like I'm just some kid who's in a like reading his lines, which is that happens often in my opinion. The movie is mostly children, and the children are just so good at like just filling in the role of what they're doing. I mean, I'm rambling now, but I just was blown away. The kid who gets shot in the foot and his like he was in pain. He was like just burned in my brain.
it's rough to watch. Yeah, a little traumatic, but
Yeah.
it's good. It has all the twists, turns, and deceptions of your double crossing typical crime drama.
Yep.
But the little expositional breakdowns of the turfs, the players,
Ooh, yeah.
brackets, and connections, you get like everything you get from those little scenes in the movie is just done so much better than in other crime drug drama movies.
Right.
They get it so much more right in this one than they do in any other movie in that genre.
Yeah.
It's like you're getting a TED talk from Pablo Escobar.
That's pretty good. Yeah, yeah, that's very similar. And I'm with that. The narrator takes time to really break down the scene, but it does it in not a super exposition-y way. Like it really is showing a story. It's telling a different story that ties into the main story, like the apartment. They talk about the apartment and
Yeah.
5 or 6 like it switched hands 5 or 6 times the keys, and it was just really cool fleshing out that scene. It was like almost like Tolkien, like in Lord of the Ringsy stuff. He takes like 3 pages to describe a tree and the tree's lineage. Like it's just a tree, but like it's cool to know that as they walk by this tree that is sentient somehow and blah blah blah. He didn't need to put all that in, but it was really cool. Really fleshes it out. A little less boring than Tolkien.
Each of those expositional breakdowns could have been like their own movie.
For sure.
Like the apartment, that whole dynamic, like that could be a movie there. Just like
Yep.
that's a plot. And then what's the guy, Knockout Ned?
Yep.
Knockout Ned. He could have his own movie. Like that whole thing was crazy.
Right.
I wrote people who watch Fox News, like people in, I don't know, retired people in Florida or whatever, that just are brainwashed by Fox News. This is what they think San Francisco is like, but it's actually just what Florida is like.
Yeah. Yeah, certain neighborhoods perhaps. But yeah, it was a really beautifully told film and acted film, and the camera work was on point. Like when they show the path of the bullet as it ricochets off of stuff. Pretty cool. Split screens sometimes to show what's happening in the same area with 2 different characters, etc. Very Scorsese, like Goodfellas, like where you find out. Do you find out it's the main character? No, you always know. The main guy who's telling the story is in the whole scene, so it's like him just retelling his life story. Yeah, just very good fellows, Ray Liotta style. He really just tells everything and breaks everything down so that you understand it. Yeah, the child acting, it was nice little bits of romance. I was wondering if you thought the ritual scene with Lil Zay was even required. What did you think about that? Where he goes to the shaman in what looks like a tunnel of the dead, and he gives him the amulet and says never take it off and all that. Like it seemed.
He tells him don't fornicate with the necklace on or it loses its power.
Right.
Which you're right, it has no relevance because throughout the whole movie, one of the issues of like kind of his rage, Lil Zay, is that he can't get laid. Lil Zay gets no play.
No play.
Yeah, or like he's like basically has to hold people up to gunpoint to dance with him or something like that, or
Yeah,
something of that nature. He does. He doesn't actually betray the amulet. He doesn't do that, right? As far as I know.
well, he does right before he dies.
Does he?
Remember? Well, maybe not right before he dies. No, not right before he dies, but he had his way
Is it
with
the knock?
Knockout Ned's wife.
But see, they don't. Do they point that out? Like, do they say, "Oh, he's wearing the
That's what
necklace,"
I'm
or do
saying.
you?
They didn't really
Yeah,
even show a close up or a brief shot of the necklace.
yeah. And that's my second time watching it, and honestly, I didn't notice it at all. It's not something I was on my
Yeah,
radar.
so that's why I was wondering if you thought it was even necessary because they could have gone a little more into it, but maybe they didn't want to do a whole lot of magic elements in the movie. Um,
Yeah,
it was just strange that like why why did the narrator tell that part of the story if obviously he wasn't there and couldn't have heard about it? So he was entirely fabricating that aspect of the movie, and there was not really much of a payoff for it. So why'd you do it? You know what I mean?
I think they're just trying to build up the like a fear of like a supernatural
Yeah,
capability to
for sure.
locals, this gangster, and I think it's also just to try to give you some like a little more culture, like the Santa Muerte
That was
stuff that
yeah,
they made.
that's a good point.
I don't know.
That's
Was it
cool.
necessary? Yeah,
Wasn't necessary per
like
se, but there's also like I mean I'm not saying I don't know what I'm saying, but the whole story could have easily just been like, and you know what I heard? I heard he got this thing done and where he got a necklace, but he didn't even say that part. But I guess that'd be the point of the story, where like, this is just what I heard. I heard he wore this amulet after he became Lil Z, and that's just the rumor going around town. That sort of thing.
mm,
Hmm.
I find it hilarious that on the kind of downfall that they end up all just pretty much all just coke zombied out, and they're
Yeah.
like, we should start taking pictures of our gang to get put on the front cover,
Yeah.
and they're just all like just grungy looking, just like with their guns at the camera, like something's never changed through generations.
Yeah.
Do it for the
Something.
gram. Do it for the gram.
Do it for the gram, using grams, kilograms, even. But yeah, I give that movie a popcorn and 3 beers. I think it's timeless. I think it's one of the best gangster movies ever made. Um, yeah, I don't even know what would top it as far as a good gangster movie. I think it's the best.
Top three.
Maybe top and 3. Yeah, sweet ass. Now let's get into the butter on top.
Oh yeah.
This is a movie with the most creative, thoughtful, deep, and complex title ever, and it matches the attitude of the movie as a whole. It's plain. Um, it's such a bad movie. No, it wasn't bad. I liked it. It's such a bad title. That's the worst title for a movie. Oh
Plane
my
as in
goodness.
PLAIN or plane like here comes the plane.
Well, here comes the plane. Oh yeah, Plane. But it just reminds me of Idiocracy. Wasn't it? Ass was the movie. You know what I mean? In the
Yeah.
theaters. Plane. Um, what do you think of that? I thought it was pretty good overall.
I thought it was a
Kind of.
good movie. It gave you what was advertised.
Yep.
Not
That it
not
was
not
plane.
much more. Yeah, you weren't wanting for nothing watching it. You're like, this is the experience that I expected to come in here and get.
Exactly right. Yep. It's just a thrill ride kind of thing.
Yeah. Gerard Butler. Oh, and by the way, back to the title. They wanted to name it something a little more specific, like Plane in the Jungle or something like that.
Yep.
And Gerard Butler was like, absolutely not. The movie's about a
Absolutely
plane,
not.
so we're going to call it Plane. Or I will
Mm.
take you into a deep, dark pit.
That's a lot like the Sam Jackson movie, Snakes on a Plane. But Snakes
Yeah.
on a Plane is a great title for a movie. Um,
Yeah, I was trying to think of a pun to call it something that was like Snakes on the Plane, but I'm not funny or creative enough to do that.
mm,
But it would have been a good joke had I been able to pull it off.
yeah, I
Guarantee
can't
that.
think of anything either.
Yeah.
Dang, let's just
No,
sit here for until we think of something.
yeah, no brakes on the plane. That's relevant, I guess, in the movie.
Oh, well, I did like what I did like about the movie was the scenes where they are flying and the pilot man Gerard and his buddy his co-pilot, they have to do pilot stuff, like in a tense situation. I think like how they handled that anxiety-driven scene was pretty well done. It was cool to watch the acting in those moments where like the tone changes on a dime because the plane's going down, the plane's fine, it's going down, etc. Pretty cool, well shot and stuff. Gerard Butler did good. Mike Coulter's always just a breath of fresh air on the screen. I think the steward, flight attendant, excuse me, was actually the hero of the entire movie. She handled the business and she got straight to it, like absolute professional in a very intense situation, all the way to the end, while she's wearing a skirt. Okay, babe.
I like how Gerard Butler, the pilot, he was able to change. He got his personal effects and was able to change
Yeah,
into casual clothes, but
right.
the flight attendant couldn't.
No,
No, you need that in this movie.
yeah, we can't have her just wearing sweats. It's not allowed.
No yoga pants on this flight.
Sheesh.
I feel like Gerard Butler's Scottish accent was a little spotty. I feel like it went in and out.
He's Scottish though.
Is he?
Yeah.
And I was worried about that while I was thinking about that, but it literally was not there all the time.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I wonder the same thing as like talking about unnecessary things. You remember Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, where I said like the wife and family, for that matter, didn't really matter in the end. Like they were barely on the screen, they had no character, etc. Everyone at home, even in the control room of the plane. I guess you kind of have to have control room on the plane where they like talk like Houston and NASA. But like all those scenes, even the family, like not necessary. Like they just like tried. I don't know what they were trying to do, but like there was not enough to attach them to the movie per se. They were really just relaying information, which is okay, I guess. But I don't know. I think they could have just like not had them in the movie whatsoever. And for that matter, like I guess we're getting into spoiler territory now, but I think Mike Coulter or the rescue team not required to have both of them.
Yeah.
His whole thing is that he was like French Foreign Legion and a badass. So like that's cool, but then a rescue team comes and they're all crack shots too, and like why did we have to have both? Like just pick one to save the day, just pick one. And it weakened Mike Coulter's character and his performance. Well, he did a good job, but like he didn't have much gravitas in the film overall because they shared his role basically with other people.
Well, it's not mentioned with the home base, the flight, everyone in charge of trying to get them home and all that. That dynamic is not mentioned by them at all. Like, oh, by the way, they have this dangerous prisoner on board the plane. Like they don't acknowledge that. He's just kind of there. Like it's very important to people on the ground in the situation, but it has no bearing to like anything else in the movie.
Right. They could have enriched that, buttered on top of it. Oh, jeez.
Buttered it up.
Not enough butter.
I like when Mike Coulter goes all John Henry with the sledgehammer.
Oh, buddy, that was nice.
It's kind of the thing with like your black protagonist guy. For some reason in movies, the big muscle guy has always got to pick up a big old sledgehammer and just start John Henrying people out of the park.
Yeah, but it's cool looking.
Yeah, no, it's badass.
He should be steel. John Henry Irons.
Yeah.
It'd be good.
Yeah. They did make a John Henry movie, but I think they used the guy that does the robot with his shirt off all the time.
Oh, Terry Crews.
Shaq.
No, Shaq was in
Crews,
Steel.
yeah.
The Superman knockoff. John Henry Irons is the character. Both great movies. By the way, why isn't Terry Crews in Marvel yet? Like what? Why aren't we giving him a movie? I don't care what he plays.
I think he had some Twitter mishaps
Oh,
where he was talking about some groups of people. I'm not going to say what because I don't exactly know, but I remember
sucks.
him having some backlash with some stuff.
That's too bad. He'd be a good Green Lantern too. Oof.
Yeah, I think it had to do with police brutality. Him having some
Hmm. Well,
off
I hope
off.
you get in the superhero movie soon, Terry. Hey. I
Thanks.
happened to see this movie playing with my parents, and my mom says after the movie, "Do you think they just ran out of money and stopped filming?" Um, the movie does like kind of drop off, sort of at the end, and like it was a lot of the scenes were kind of rushed. I don't know. It's like, okay, well, let's all get the keys and go home now. Like, okay, it was just a little. I don't know. Like the scenes that were really tense were really good, and the scenes that were rushed were obvious. And it just seemed like they just ran out of film and had to just slap something together sometimes.
I felt like they left like room for a sequel. I don't know in what way, like how they would do that. I don't want to spoil anything, but
Yeah,
it's like you do want a little more of the ends tied up. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, Mike Coulter just disappeared like a Mad Max situation, which was cool. It was a nice. Oh, now it's a big spoiler. Sorry, guys. We'll warn you
yeah,
about spoilers. Um, but yeah, but then he's just gone, and we didn't really even get his story, really, in the end.
that's what I was saying though. Is that yeah, he could use a sequel on just where he goes from there.
Absolutely, that'd be good.
You know what I mean? That would be a good
Yeah,
movie. I'd
we
watch
call it Paddle Boat.
it. Plane two, no more plane, no more plane. On.
Fear of heights. That'd be a good title. Plane too. Fear of heights. Well, in the end, what do you give it? I'd say popcorn. I give it a popcorn, honestly. Popcorn and a beer, maybe on a good day.
Really, I'm gonna go. Gosh, I'm gonna give it a popcorn and two.
Popcorn and two. Well, like you said, you know what you're getting when you get in the movie. It is obviously the type of movie that it is. Like it's action. You're not looking for a whole lot of story or Oscar moments. Like just want to see some shit blow up, some bullets flying, some people triumphing, um, sledgehammers
Yeah,
to the face.
I begrudgingly give it a pop two. I could see a pop one somewhere
Well,
in the
I'll do a
middle there.
pop one. I'll do pop one on a regular
Okay.
day.
My
Popcorn and what?
last little take real quick is
Oh yeah,
who who crank calls an airline about a missing flight.
yeah,
He gets a phone, the captain, and he calls the base, and he's like, "Oh, this is the of the down flight. Help us." And the lady, the customer service lady, is like, "Sir, we have been getting crank calls about this all day. Don't mess with me." It's like, who in that situation sees on the news a flight is missing, and they're like, "Oh man, I'm gonna screw with them today." You know what I mean? Like, what jerk? And
yeah.
there's well, she's like, "We've been receiving them all day." Like, it's strange that it's believable. Like, people suck that bad that you're like, okay, yeah,
But also, like on the other side, what type of professional would ever not take an emergency seriously? I mean,
yeah,
if you get 10 bomb threats in a day, you don't ignore them.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you have to take those notes and pass it up. Like that's your job, bud. People are on the line, dude. So yeah, it's weird that maybe it's more believable that there's too many trolls out there. I think it's less believable that the operator wouldn't take that at least mildly seriously. Yeah.
Maybe she worked for Spirit, or maybe she worked for Southwest. That makes sense.
Yeah. Um. So we're coming up on the end here, but I thought I'd bring up something to you. I'm started to make a wish list for we always pick what the classic of the drunk classic is going to be, and then we agree on the butter on top. I've started a wish list though. Do you have anything like that for movies that you want to make us watch in the future?
Absolutely.
What have you been thinking about?
Hmm. Top of my head, let's see. A little bit on the spot here, but I'm gonna come with some gems. Um,
Uncut Gems.
gosh. There's a movie, bad movie, but just one of my favorites called Almost Heroes with Chris Farley and Matthew Perry,
Oh, never
where
seen that.
it's like a parody on Lewis and Clark.
Oh,
Really good movie.
okay.
Scary movie. Ari Aster movie, Hereditary.
Oh, okay. I love her as an actor, so I guess I'll
That's a really good movie. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Great movie.
no.
One of my all-time favorites. Another. I'm also on top of a war movie buff. I'm also a big horror movie guy. As bad as they are, I'll watch all of them.
Yeah,
Disturbia, not actually a horror movie, but like a suspense thriller. Disturbia with Shia LaBeouf.
and Halle Berry.
No,
That's a different
no.
Disturbia.
Who else was in it? A lot of familiar faces, but I couldn't name an actor in it. But a lot of faces, you're like, oh yeah, that guy. He's a bit player. But
Yeah.
great movie. That was like my high school coming of age
Mm.
movie for me. It was. I really loved that movie. And I have a couple more that I can't think of off the top of my head right now. So
Oh, sure. My list is smaller than that, really. But I was thinking, like, I'm always down to watch some more Tarantino. I know that's over suggested, and especially for a channel full of bros, like maybe that's been overdone. But I love Tarantino. Sorry. Um, Speaking of war movies, 1917. Have you seen that bad boy?
love it,
Ooh, master of cinematography. I think it won that year, perhaps,
love it.
or at least nominated. Black Dynamite. How about that? Have you seen that?
Is that what is that?
It's Michael Jai
That
White.
sounds.
It's a black exploitation spoof.
I haven't seen that.
Then that's I can't wait to suggest that. It's Michael Jai White, the guy who played Spawn. He's a world class martial artist in real life, and he plays like a Shaft type character, and the whole movie is making fun of black exploitation films. It's just so funny, so well written, a lot of people in it. And then like Royal Tenenbaums, it's always worth watching.
Really?
Not a
I don't
fan.
know. I tried to watch that when it came out as a kid, but maybe I was just too young. But
Mm,
I remember being like, I didn't get it.
didn't get it. Yeah, I
Didn't.
definitely watched that when I was young, and when I watched it as an adult, it was a much different movie.
Hmm,
Um, I'm a big fan. A lot of people aren't. And on that line, I Heart Huckabees. How about that one? Have you seen that?
never seen that.
Oh, that's a movie that I'm pretty sure Fry will hate. Can't wait to make us watch that too. Pretty good stuff. But anyway, what do you want to watch next week, buddy?
We decided on our drunk classic was my pick, and I'm going with Matt Damon's the Adjustment Bureau.
Matt Damon. Oh yeah, Adjustment Bureau.
Yeah,
Is that a
good one.
rental? Is that right?
It's going to be a rental probably for you guys. I own it on DVD. Still own DVDs. I'm one of those people, a few in the world.
You ought to, bud. They'll be like vintage and cool pretty soon.
Yeah, right. Like VHSs.
Yeah, dude. Fair share or vinyl.
Oh yeah,
And then butter on top. I think we're gonna do You People.
yeah.
It's on Nortflex. It just came out a couple days ago or so. Well, I guess about a week ago if you're seeing this now. But Eddie Murphy, it's not his like return role, but maybe his most famous return role. His last movie was not as famous as I thought it should have been. It was good. Anyway, good movie. Let's check it out and see you guys next time. Keep on popping and beering or something. Woo!